You've wasted more nights than you dare to count.
And you know it. No need to deny it. You've gone to sleep with that feeling, that quiet certainty that today was just another chapter in a story you're not even writing. And yet, here you are. Same routine, same distractions, still hoping change will show up on its own, as if miracles were a method. Let me tell you something you might not want to hear. Change is not a miracle, it's a heist. It doesn't come gently, it doesn't knock, it doesn't ask for permission. You take it by force, or it never comes at all. There's no middle ground, there's no perfect timing, and if you keep waiting, hiding behind excuses and dopamine, you'll end up exactly where you are. You live a life that doesn't fulfill you, and you feel it every night, when silence finally catches up with you. It's not about time. It's not bad luck. It's your blueprint, your script. You're performing in a film you didn't write. Recycled scenes, lines that were never yours. And worst of all, you've memorized the role so well, you almost forgot you're acting. You don't need another motivational video. You need a mirror and the courage to actually look. You know what's wrong. You know where you went off track, but you'd rather scroll through noise than face the brutality of truth. You'd rather live in a soft illusion than deal with the uncomfortable clarity of reality. I'll start Monday. Now's not the right time. Once I fix that, I'll change. You've said these lines before, and you know the cost of each one, because the time you're waiting for is the same time killing the version of you that still believes life can be different. And that's where the method begins. One notebook, one pen, one brutal night. No rituals, no gurus, no magic. Just handwritten truth, raw, unfiltered, without anesthesia. You write until it hurts. And when it hurts, you keep writing. In the next few minutes, you'll understand why your life is stuck exactly where it is, how your fear of failure disguises itself as perfectionism, and why one night, armed with honesty and pain, can rewrite the architecture of your story. Now we're going to the root. You don't change because you're afraid of what you'll find if you look honestly at who you've become. But without that confrontation, there is no reconstruction. So now the question is, do you still have the guts to pick up the pen? You say you don't know where to start, but the truth is, you do. You just don't want to look, because looking requires courage, and courage hurts. Courage breaks the mirror. Courage wipes off the makeup of routine. You're stuck, but you're the one who locked the door from the inside. The real trap in your life isn't the problems you have, it's the excuses you keep repeating. I'm still getting things in order. Now's not the right time. I just need to fix one more thing. Those lines are comfortable, but they're killing you. And the worst part, you know it. You built yourself a decorated prison, filled with useful distractions, packed with tasks that keep you busy, but never change you. You wake up tired of being who you are, and yet, you walk through every step like you're hypnotized by a life that doesn't even belong to you. You pretend you're in control, but you're lost in a script you don't even remember agreeing to. You postpone, and postpone, and postpone again, and time moves on with its usual coldness, because time doesn't warn you. It doesn't announce when your real self is starving. It just fades, quietly. You think you're avoiding collapse, but the collapse already began. It's in your body, slowly breaking down, in your mind, no longer sharp, in your relationships, drying up because you're not fully present anywhere. And still, you keep going. You keep being the tamed version of yourself, smiling when you want to scream, promising changes that never come. Why?
because you learned how to survive in what weakens you. And now, you think that's normal. You're not waiting for the right moment. You're avoiding the pain of facing the truth. And the truth is brutal. You're living beneath what you know you could be, and you do it every single day, with small, neutral choices that, stacked together, are slowly burying you alive. You feel it every night. That weight no one sees. That whisper in the dark. You're not living. You're just holding the performance together. And if you keep this up, life won't explode. It'll just dim. No drama, no soundtrack, just colorless days. Until mediocrity feels like home. But not today. Today you're hearing this, which means something in you is still alive. Now let's break through the next layer. The place where your mistakes get edited in silence, and where the mask begins to crack. Don't move. It's going to hurt. But this is where the rupture begins.
We're stepping into the room where your story is shaped. And I'm not talking about your memories, I'm talking about your repetitions. The patterns you keep reliving, even though they're breaking you. This room is your everyday life. The invisible stage where you keep performing for an audience that's not even watching anymore. And here's the question that refuses to go away. Why are you still playing a role that hurts you? You say you're tired, but you keep rehearsing broken scenes, delivering fake lines, keeping empty characters in the spotlight, and calling it your life. You're surrounded by people who drain you, but you label that as loyalty. You maintain habits that are killing you, but you call it routine. You echo excuses that paralyze you, but dress them up as being careful. And the worst part? You're the director of all this. You write the script. You yell action. You let the worst parts run wild because you don't have the guts to say one word: cut. Cut that relationship that poisons you. Cut that habit that weakens you. Cut that version of yourself that keeps apologizing for existing. It's not too radical. It's the bare minimum for someone who respects their own life. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You already know what you need to cut. You know who shouldn't be in your life anymore. You know what's draining your mental energy in exchange for nothing. But you keep holding on to it all because you're afraid of what'll be left once it's gone. You say you're tired, but you're not tired of fighting. You're tired of keeping dead things alive. Tired of pretending you're stable when you're not. Tired of faking affection where only duty remains. Tired of repeating a version of yourself that doesn't even feel like you anymore, just because you're scared of the silence that would follow. But silence is necessary. It's where improvisation ends and direction begins. Emotional transition. Hook. If you want to rewrite your story, you'll have to walk into this room every night and say one thing out loud. This scene doesn't represent me anymore. Then cut. No guilt, no justification, no nostalgia. And now that you've seen what needs to be deleted, it's time for the next step: reconstruction. But before you can write anything new, you have to do what most people avoid their entire lives: face, in silence, what you've made of your life so far. Now we're stepping into the room where your story gets shaped. And I'm not talking about your memories, I'm talking about what you keep repeating, even though you know it's killing you. This room is your routine, the invisible stage where you keep performing for an audience that isn't even watching. And the question that keeps echoing: why are you still playing a role that's breaking you? You say you're exhausted, but you keep holding on to broken scenes, fake conversations, characters that add nothing to your life, yet you still cast them in leading roles. You're surrounded by people who drain your soul, but you call that loyalty. You keep habits that are quietly destroying you, but you name that routine. You repeat excuses that keep you frozen, but you label them caution. And here's the worst part. You're the one directing this whole thing. You're writing the script, you're calling the shots, You're yelling action on scenes that should have been deleted long ago. This is the editing room of your story. You're in the director's chair, but acting like an extra. You let the worst parts of the plot stay alive because you haven't had the courage to shout one word: cut. Cut that relationship that poisons you. Cut that habit that keeps you small. Cut that version of yourself that's always apologizing for existing. That's not being too extreme. That's the bare minimum for someone who wants to live with self-respect. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. You already know what needs to go. You know who shouldn't be there. You know what's draining your energy for nothing in return. But you're still clinging to it all because you're scared of what will remain once it's gone. You say you're tired, but you're not tired of fighting. You're tired of keeping dead things alive. Tired of pretending you're fine while you're caged. Tired of faking love where only duty remains. Tired of repeating this tame version of yourself just because you're terrified of the silence that might follow. But silence is where everything begins. It's where you stop improvising and start directing. If you want to rewrite your story, you'll need to walk into this room every night and say, "This scene doesn't represent me anymore." And then, cut. No guilt, no explanation, no nostalgia. And now that you've seen what needs to be removed, you're ready for the next chapter, reconstruction. But before you can write anything new, you'll have to do the one thing most people avoid their entire lives. Face, in silence, what you've done with your life so far. Now you've sat down. Now the pen is in your hand. Now the noise from the outside world has finally gone quiet. Here comes the hardest part. Not getting up, not running, not lying. You start by writing what you think you feel, but soon you realize the surface is loud, but shallow. The real words take time to show up, and you hesitate. Is it worth digging this up? Can I handle what I might uncover? Yes, you can, but it won't be pretty, because writing from the right place means crossing everything you've built to protect yourself. It means admitting, I'm playing small. I'm repeating mistakes I swore I'd never make again. I'm surrounded by people who are here only because I let them stay. And when you write that, something breaks. Your stomach tightens, your throat closes, your eyes sting. Good. Now it started. Keep going. Write what's been killing you, what you've kept alive under the excuse of commitment, what you call loyalty, but is really just fear in costume. Write the name of the relationship that should have ended long ago, the name of the fear you hide behind your so-called plans, the name of the version of yourself you're keeping alive, just out of habit. Write until it hurts. And when it hurts, keep writing, because that's where it happens. Right there, you begin to cross over. You were trained to stay quiet, to rationalize your pain, to be mature enough not to fall apart. But the falling apart is where the rebuilding begins. The tear that lands on the page, it's not weakness, it's baptism. It's the exact moment you refuse to keep being a background character in your own story. You've already tried everything else. Distractions, denial, waiting. Now, you're trying the one thing that's left, the raw truth, written by hand. No audience, no makeup, no filter. And that is transforming you. The question now isn't if you'll change. The real question is, what will you do with what you just wrote? Because after this, there's no going back. You saw yourself, you heard yourself, you wrote yourself, and now it's time for the final decision. Now you've written, and there's no way to unwrite it. The page doesn't judge you, but it won't protect you either. It simply reveals. It reveals your silence, your repetition, your daily surrender to the same excuses. the same ones that led you exactly here. Now comes the moment no one sees, the moment where you're alone, lights off, chest exposed, and the decision right in front of you, because you could close the notebook right now and go back to life. Pretend this was just another interesting video. Pretend tonight was just another page in a meaningless diary. Or you could remember what you wrote and act like someone who finally understands what's at stake. It's not about changing everything tomorrow. It's about not continuing the same way. About no longer apologizing for wanting a life that feels like your own. About ending the season of submission and starting the script where you finally play yourself. You don't need more time. You need a boundary. And maybe this is it. Maybe this is the exact moment where the curve begins, where the watcher steps off the sidelines and becomes the writer. Because the world will keep spinning the way it always has. Noisy, shallow, distracting. But you don't have to stay the same. The pen is still in your hand. The notebook is still open. So the only question left now is, will you write the next scene or go back to acting in a script you already know the ending to? If you made it this far, it means something inside you is still hungry for the truth. And maybe this video didn't hand you all the answers, but if it pushed you off the edge and into something real, then it did its job. Now go, but don't return the same, because the moment you write your own pain, you've already begun to change. You can scroll away, you can close this tab, you can go back to the SAM, or you can make one decision now, one decision. You can hit subscribe and step into a space where the truth is brutal, but liberating, where being awake doesn't make you weird, it makes you danger. Because here, we don't worship positivity, we eat. So yeah, you can keep playing nice. You can keep being the guy who swallows everything you see, or you can join the only channel that respects your darkness, challenge, and gives voice to what you've buried for years. Crackdown isn't faux, but if you're still watching, it's probably for you. So hit subscribe, like this video and see I'm done pretend. That's how this starts. Not with noise, but with a decision.